What is up, everybody? What day is it? Monday?
Yep.
Yep. It is a Monday evening, and I'm here with Motuvius Rex.
Hello.
Hey, Kyler. What's up, buddy? All right. So, tell the audience who you are and, where you're from, what you do.
I go by Motuvius Rex as my stage name. My real name is Sean Rigsby. I'm from Kentucky. I reside in Louisville, but I'm originally from Glasgow, Kentucky, which is further south central in rural Kentucky.
All right. There can't possibly be much of a goth scene out there.
Louisville is, I also am the bass player for the Kentucky Vampires, which started here. And I also am a co-founder of Radio Arcane, which is streaming radio. And we do monthly goth events with a dark arts vending market. And we've got a pretty cool scene.
That's right.
We just hosted Dark Castle Fest for our second year here. Had a lot of good bands.
Yeah, I saw a few flyers and stuff about that show. It sounded pretty cool.
It was a really good turnout. This year was a lot bigger than the first year. The first year we had Twin Tribes and Wingtips, Faux Fear, Vasm. But it was just kind of an experiment. This year we had time to prepare for a whole year.
Right.
So 2 days.
Luke says, sweet, hat stores and goth nights, more reasons to visit Kentucky. So, your stage name, Motuvius Rex, how did that come about?
Well, okay. I guess we'll go in deep right out the bat.
Okay.
So, it's actually my magical name, which is an amalgam of my magical motto.
Okay.
Which was my initiation name into the Astrum Argentum AA, which is a thelemic-based order. Silver Star.
Okay.
Astrum Argentum.
All right, that's cool.
Arcanorum. But so the motto was Modus versus Veritas, and that's just kind of a magical thing to do. I know that in the contemporary, not so occult scene of the Satanic Temple, they call them Satanims or something.
Okay.
But
I'm just gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah.
I don't like the temple. Anyway.
I'm not a great fan.
No.
I like some people that I know in it, so no offense to that.
No.
But I am an old school occultist, and their belief system is very different from what I am interested in.
Agreed. All right. Kyler asks, what kind of bass do you play?
I have 3 basses. So with the Kentucky Vampires, I play a 1994 Ibanez. It's drop tuned to C tuning and has active pickups, which Zach really likes that active pickup sound. Most of my own music is in standard tuning, and I mostly use a Fender Aerodyne, which is kind of a Japanese-made hybrid between the Fender precision bass and the jazz bass. It has pickups of both. But it is passive pickups and has a very different sound. And on that, I also use tape wound strings, which sound very different to the brightness of what I play in the Kentucky Vampires.
Okay.
It has a little bit more of a Motown country feel with the tape wound strings.
All right. So how did your sound come to be? It's pretty unique. Like, we've got, the goth sound, but it's like very folky. It's almost like a little vampire-y in some ways. Like, how'd that come develop?
I think just because I've been interested, I've been in the goth scene since I was a teenager, really, and but I always was drawn towards folk and neo folk in particular, which is dark folk. And I've said this in other interviews, but like the neo folk scene is very Eurocentric, like all of their themes and everything is so European, and I don't relate to that experience because
Right.
I'm an American, and in more particular, I am a Kentuckian, and so I draw from Appalachian influences that I grew up with mixed with goth. So I can't call it neo folk as much as I probably just call it dark folk or gothic folk or something. But I do mix it with gothic rock a lot too. I mean, a lot of it.
Right, because you've got like the gothic rock type vocals, and we've got like those crazy like electric guitar, like almost dirgy sort of riffs. But then we've also got like the acoustic kind of folky. I like it. It's really neat.
Thank you. I think I drew quite a bit from 60s folk rock and psychedelia to art rock type stuff, and I have two different types of 12-string guitars, which is part of what gives some of it that kind of weird sound, especially the 12-string electric. It's an electric semi-hollow body, and it has a very birds jingle jangle to it sometimes. But
what would you say is the biggest challenge you're facing right now?
Marketing, probably, like just and I think my music is very niche.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, and so it's hard to get broad appeal. Like I'm actually releasing vinyl for this album.
Oh, that's cool.
In club, yeah. It takes a long time for vinyl to get pressed, and it's very expensive. And it's being pressed in South America because that's where my label is. So then there's shipping and all that problematic cost type thing,
Yeah.
I mean, I buy vinyl from Europe sometimes still. Since shipping has gone up so much, though, I have to admit, I mostly buy at live shows that we have here more than I do online anymore, just because it's like $50 for a record.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is exactly how much the vinyl costs if you buy it from South America, because the shipping is so much.
Oh my goodness.
But everything I see from other artists, I mean, even in America, most people are asking about $30 for vinyl.
Yeah.
Even without the shipping. So
yeah, so I'm kind of at the point where, like, unless I really, really, really dig it, I'm not going to cough up the money for vinyl.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to have a good amount of them shipped here for to sell in person at live shows, so there's no shipping costs for people to buy them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but you have to come to a live show to do that.
Yep. Have you got like a bunch of shows lined up?
No.
Okay.
And in fact, I play very rarely live, and the reason for that is with the Kentucky Vampires, Zach lived here, but he relocated to Florida, and the other three of us are here, but we have to do our music kind of like through email. And then live is always a difficulty, getting everything. And he's also in the Waning Moon now too, so he's touring with them.
Okay.
For my own project, I do everything by myself on recording. So I'm playing everything, which obviously I can't do live.
Right.
I'm not one of the. I'm kind of old school about if I'm going to play live, I actually want a real band. I don't want to just sing to backing tracks.
Yeah, understandable.
No offense, I've got a lot of friends that do that. They're just one-man shows, and or one-woman shows, and they're
that's great for them, but
it's not how I want my music to be.
Right.
viewed. And so I put together bands here. Like we just played at Dark Castle and I had a 6-piece band with mandolin player, and the mandolin players from Saddle of Southern Darkness, which is a band here also. Live drummer, which on the records I use a drum machine.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a full band, and playing live will be just whenever I can throw something together, and it'll probably mostly be regional though, like Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Nashville, kind of places around Louisville, because most of us, you know, we're not pulling in the kind of money to travel to California or something.
Right. Well, if you ever somehow make it East Coast, I'm freaking there.
Thank you. It's hard these days for independent music because the money has been really stripped out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on the promoter side too. You know, I bring a lot of bands here to Louisville, and you know, we have to pay the bands, but if we can't get more than 50 people in, it's really difficult to bring in enough money for them to make the money that they deserve to make if they're touring.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So you just dropped your latest album, was it like 2 months ago?
It was July. Yeah.
Yeah, July.
Yeah.
How's reception been for it so far? Are people talking about it much, or?
Yeah.
You know, people like it?
Yeah, it's got a lot of response on Bandcamp, a lot better than some things. And, you know, it's not huge, but, you know, it's good enough. Right. I think the Kentucky Vampires are like, if we played live, that is pretty, we can draw a pretty good audience. But by myself, it's hit and miss, you know. Around here, I do well.
That's good. I just wanted to say my favorite tracks off the album were the first track of Sand and Saturn, and I really like the Decay is a Wonderful Smith.
Thank you.
All right. So, how'd you first get into making music?
I was really young, but I didn't officially buy an instrument until I was about 14. I mostly, I guess, started out in punk bands. There's some early punk stuff on my SoundCloud page. There's one track that we actually recorded from. It's kind of death rocky punk, you know. But we were kids. But I mean, I don't know. Just desire to make music. I don't know. I'm an artist too. My dad's an artist, so I grew up in an art school. Even though I'm from rural Kentucky, he went to art school at Heron in Indianapolis. So when I was really small, we lived up there, and I was around a lot of hippies and art students as a child.
If you could collaborate with any artist, who would you choose?
Michael Cashmore would be awesome. He's getting pretty old. I am too. But if you're not familiar, he composed most of the music for Current 93 during their folkiest folk era, mostly with the really beautiful guitar. I've already recorded my third album, except for maybe some tweaks. It'll still be a while before it's out because there's a lot of post-production and stuff. But I did collaborate on every song with Ashley Vega, who sings with us for the Kentucky Vampires now. And
okay, that's cool.
I like Rebecca Fing a lot from the Neuro Farm. I think she'd be fun to collaborate with because she plays violin and she has very operatic vocals. I really like that. I'm really into folk elements and classical elements a lot.
All right. What's a story do you have like a story about growing up and you just heard like a piece of music for the first time and it just like really made you feel something?
I mean, I think when I really started getting into stuff was probably like Culture Club. I love Boy George. And as far as collaborations, I actually, how can I forget Painted Romans here? He lives in Norway, and I may actually collaborate with him. He's a very cool guy, and he's into some of the same elements.
Okay, cool.
So I started out in disco and new wave, really, probably maybe earlier. Just some of my dad's hippie and jazz. I grew up with a lot of bossa nova around on his side. But probably the life-changing song for me was "Dogs" by Christian Death.
Okay.
It came out on a compilation album in the early 80s called Hell Comes to Your House. And that was the first time I ever heard anything that dark. Besides maybe some punk bands that were like Black Flag and Dead Kennedys and stuff. And, but Christian Death was obviously doing something new at that time.
Right.
I definitely, as I said, I was drawn to neo folk, even in the 80s, which it wasn't called that then. And problematic as I know people see it, it doesn't change the fact that it was a heavy influence on me. Especially because I was into a lot of occult studies and I don't know, romantic Gothic horror type things.
Yeah.
But I also grew up with country. I mean, I grew up with Merle Haggard and George Jones and even some deeper, probably not so appealing bands like David Allan Coe and stuff. But that's where I'm from. Bluegrass. But I never felt like I was country or bluegrass. It's just I was around it. And you can't help but be influenced by things that is culturally, environmentally around you.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have any crazy stories from the road that you want to tell us? Doesn't matter which project you're out with, just if you got anything crazy.
Nothing that crazy, except for the fact that I'm pretty old and I've been around for a long time. And when I was younger in a punk band here in Kentucky, my dad had a friend in Nashville who was around all the country music stars and all that. And we got to borrow one of Elvis Presley's limousines. So we were traveling around in the Elvis Presley limousine with dyed hair and mohawks and earrings and stuff in rural Kentucky. We were too young to play at bars, but back then nobody cared. So we played at the bars that were always the most accepting for us were usually gay bars. And we played at this club called LMNOP in Lexington. And we were well accepted there, but when we were, just on the road around Kentucky, we were definitely in danger, I would say, like when you'd get out to get gas or go whatever. It's a little sketchy getting out. It's better today, I think, by far than it was in the 80s and 90s. I mean, where I grew up, if you just even had an earring, if you're a male, you're asking for trouble.
Oof.
And I wore makeup a lot too, which was definitely rolling the dice on who's going to give you a hard time.
Yeah, for sure. This one's a little off the wall, but that's okay. If you were a salad, what dressing would it have?
Oil and vinegar.
Okay. Why?
I tend not to eat the heavier stuff as much, but I think I like Greek salad a lot and balsamics and things. But I'm also probably cantankerous kind of vinegar kind of guy. I love vinegar. My wife pickles all kinds of wonderful things. Pickling is awesome.
It is. I love doing like spicy pickled green beans.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So where can people find you and all your stuff?
Bandcamp, definitely. I streaming, it's on all of the usual platforms: Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Apple, Amazon. I do have a SoundCloud page where I just let everybody listen to everything free. I'll give you free codes even. I don't care. Like, digital music to me is like, if people want it, they don't have to buy it. You're basically, it's like, I worked in the service industry for most of my life. In fact, I'm still a bartender a lot. So I've been living on tips most of my adult life in one form or another. And I just basically consider when somebody buys my music kind of like, it's like tipping me, because you certainly don't have to, you can listen for free on Spotify or YouTube.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Kyler's asking, do you have a favorite vampire movie?
It sounds trite to say, but I mean, I love the original Nosferatu. Now,
yeah.
I also really, really love a lot of the Christopher Lee Hammer horror vampire films. Obviously, Bela Lugosi was awesome too, but there's something really creepy and eccentric about Nosferatu. And I even love the Klaus Kinski one that came in the late 70s, whatever. I mean, like, there's just something bizarre about that. I don't know. It's the eccentricity, I think, of that vampire. He's weird, he's not handsome, and you know what I mean? Like,
he looks like a rat.
Yeah. He's just, I think Max Schreck, just as an actor, seems like he was pretty eccentric himself,
Yeah.
But I know that's not like a deep cut, but I can't help but the original one is still kind of I think the coolest one.
I especially dig, there's been different bands that did soundtracks to it, but the version with the Type O Negative soundtrack, I just love that. All right. Is there anything we haven't touched on that you were hoping to talk about tonight?
I don't know. I don't know what I was hoping to talk about. It's just it's good to get out there. I don't know. Your production looks awesome from what I'm seeing. Is this is on Twitch too, or?
Yeah, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Okay, cool. So if people want to watch it, it'll
still be up on Facebook and YouTube. Yep.
Okay, cool. Right on. So
Kyler saw Nosferatu on SpongeBob. All right. Well, what would you want to say to your fans who might watch this, or new fans that you might have made tonight?
I just thank you. Honestly, any support is awesome, and I appreciate anybody that wants to check it out. That's why you make art, so other people can connect to it somehow. And I think my life experience hasn't been probably the same as a lot of people's, but I think I touch on a lot of human and mortal type subjects that everybody can relate to. It's just, my voice is a little bit probably difficult to maybe an acquired taste vocally. But thank you, though. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for joining me. This was fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. If you want to hang out off air, you're welcome to hang out. But other than that, thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will catch you on Saturday with Dead Cool.
Oh yeah, they just played here.
All right. I'm not super familiar with them yet, but I need to get caught up to speed.
They're nice. They're really nice.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.